So let's kick off on this question of why planning? Why is it important? Why is it such an important component of management that we're dedicating a whole unit to it? Well, planning is critical to being an effective manager because planning helps us to visualize what the future is going to look like, in our opinion, and set out a roadmap on how to get there. So if you think about, if you're going to um, you're driving to somewhere on the weekend and you've got your friends or your family in the car with you, and you're trying to get there in the most efficient way so that you can spend the most time you can at your destination, and you haven't been there before, one of the things that many of us will do is that we'll probably get out our Google Maps or something comparable, and we'll have a look at where we are now compared to where we want to be in the terms of the destination, and we'll map out or plan the best way to get there. And if it's a multiple hour trip, let's say it's a 5 or 6 hour trip, we might even actually pick milestones along the way on how to get there. So we'll do things such as, okay, by the first hour, I'd like to be at this location, and then I can have a 5 minute break, do bathroom breaks and so forth. The second hour, we want to be in this destination and so forth. And we map out like a plan to get to our destination by the time that we want to get there in the most efficient and effective way of getting there. That fits within our resources, so in the amount of time that we have, or the amount of, or fits in terms of the vehicle that we're driving, the space that we have available, and so forth. So planning in a business context is not much different to that. We identify where we are now, but we also identify where we need to be. We identify that the future needs to look like this in 12 months' time, or 6 months' time, or 3 months' time. This is where we need to be, and this is what the nature of our business needs to look like. How do we get from where we are now to where we need to be? So, same type of thing. We set out a roadmap, and that roadmap will consist of things like milestones, like targets, mini goals within that will set out a pathway to our destination, and also get to think about the resources that we require, such as people and equipment, and really gets us to start to, in our mind's eye, construct a path to get from where we are now to where we need to be. And if we can do that in a consultative way with our teams and our people, involving those key stakeholders, we bring them along with the journey too, so that we can all be in sync in terms of where we are now, where we need to be, and how we're going to get there. And not only does the research show that that helps or increases the likelihood of achieving that, it also increases things such as buy-in and and commitment from those who are participating in the activities. So planning becomes critical as in terms of not only helping us to get to our destination in the most effective and efficient way, but also in terms of getting our team and stakeholders who are involved, getting them on the journey with us. So goals, targets, and activities are more likely to be achieved if they are well planned, they are coordinated, and particularly if they are written down. And that component of written down is really critical, not only because getting them down on, figuratively speaking, on paper helps us to communicate it better. So a plan that is constructed, and whether it's put electronically or actually physically on something, whether it's a Word document or a spreadsheet or a whiteboard or something or a Gantt chart, whatever. If we can put it out there, it's easier to communicate with everybody involved. But also what it does is it forces us to clarify our thinking. Any form of writing helps us to clarify our thinking. If you've done any study such as this one or any university study, it's not unusual for people to ask you to write down your thoughts, write down an essay, write down a report, because the process of writing helps us to clarify our thinking. And plans are no different. Writing them down ensures that we clarify our thinking. The other good thing is that it increases commitment. As soon as you write something down, it it changes from being something personal, which is inside your own head, to something that's public. It's down, it's out, shared. And that means that it just adds another dimension of commitment to achieving that. So you think about, if you set yourself a personal goal and you don't tell anybody about it, it's much easier to renege on that goal. If you set yourself a milestone to, let's say you're a jogger and you have a five kilometer course that you like to run, and you've been working your way up to doing a PB, a personal best, and today is the day, and you're really committed to doing that. You might tell somebody about that, and that just sets that goal out into public. So as you're running around and it's pretty challenging, and you're pushing yourself, and it's really easy in which to back off, it adds a level of commitment where you go, hey, no, actually, I've committed myself to this, and I've made that public. I'm really got to push through this, which is much different than if we don't have that sense of public commitment, and we we keep it to ourselves. If things get difficult, it's much easier to go, oh, you know what? How about we do that next time, and this time we'll just back off a little bit. So there's multiple dimensions to the importance of writing things down. If you really want to commit to something, get it out, get it down, and get it out there. It just increases our commitment to achieving it. And in terms of actual plans themselves, there are various types of plans, and I'll talk more about this shortly. But plans can be single-use plans, such as project planning, where you've got a particular outcome. It might be a one-of, and you're going to develop plans in how to get there. Or they might be standing plans, which might be plans, something that's an ongoing endeavor, and the plans will stay locked in terms of its usability. So, it might be something that's cyclical, a cyclical event, or something that's a regular event or occurrence, and you're developing plans that are standing plans. They're going to stay in place until they're reviewed and altered.